On a quiet Mother's Day morning in 2020, Suzanne Morphew set out for a simple bike ride in the Colorado mountains and vanished. Her bicycle was found abandoned, her helmet discarded nearby. No struggle, no witnesses, no sign of where she went. Was it an accident? An abduction? Or something far more chilling? As the investigation unfolded, secrets surfaced. Marriage troubles, suspicious timelines, and evidence that pointed not to a stranger, but to someone she knew best. This is the story of Suzanne Morphew's disappearance and the dark truths it exposed.
It was Mother's Day, May 10th, 2020. For many families across America, it was a day of breakfast in bed, flowers, and calls to loved ones. In Salida, Colorado, Suzanne Morphew's daughters were away on a camping trip, planning to surprise their mother later that evening. That morning, their house on Puma Path seemed quiet, almost too quiet. By afternoon, Suzanne Morphew would be gone without a trace. Suzanne was a 49-year-old mother of two, described as full of life, kind-hearted, and deeply devoted to her girls, Mallory and Macy. Friends remembered her as a woman of faith, someone who cared for others more than herself. On that spring morning, she was reportedly preparing for a short bike ride along the rugged trails near her home. It was the kind of ride she had taken many times before, but this one would be her last. The timeline that morning remains blurry. According to investigators, Suzanne last used her phone just after 11 a.m. By early afternoon, she was no longer answering calls or texts. A neighbor, noticing Suzanne was unusually absent, raised concerns later that day. When searchers began looking, the clues they found were baffling. Suzanne's bike was found near County Road 225, just a short distance from her home. Not damaged, not hidden, simply lying on the ground. Her helmet turned up about a quarter mile away, resting in the brush. For investigators, this was the first puzzle piece. If Suzanne had crashed, why wasn't her bike damaged? If she had fallen, where was she? And if she had been taken, why were these items left behind, almost staged? That evening, search and rescue teams were deployed. Volunteers, deputies, K-9 units, and even helicopters scoured the surrounding terrain. Neighbors joined the search, combing through rivers, dirt roads, and wooded ravines. But despite the effort, there was no trace of Suzanne herself, only silence. The mystery had begun. In a small community like Salida, word spread quickly. Suzanne's disappearance shook the town to its core. Friends described her as someone who would never simply vanish. Her daughters were frantic, away from home, and helpless, waiting for answers. By that night, Suzanne's disappearance wasn't just a family tragedy. It was a community emergency. At first, some wondered if Suzanne had suffered a tragic accident on the trail. But investigators quickly realized this was no ordinary missing person case. Something about the scene felt wrong. And as the hours turned into days, darker possibilities began to emerge.
To friends and neighbors, Suzanne and Barry Morphew looked like the picture of a successful family. They had two beautiful daughters, a home in the Colorado mountains, and years of memories together. But as investigators peeled back the layers, they discovered a very different story, one of tension, secrecy, and betrayal hidden behind closed doors. Just days before she vanished, Suzanne sent a series of messages to a close friend. Her words were short but powerful. "I'm done." She confided that she no longer wanted to stay in the marriage. To her friend, it sounded like Suzanne was preparing to leave Barry for good. Barry, a landscaper and avid hunter, was known in town as outgoing and competitive. But according to Suzanne's private notes, their marriage was strained. She described years of arguments, feelings of control, and her longing for independence. While Suzanne was confiding in friends, Barry told others he was fighting for his marriage. Investigators later uncovered that Suzanne had reconnected with a former high school friend. Their conversations suggested emotional intimacy, a safe place outside the tension of her marriage. Though not fully clear, prosecutors would later argue that Suzanne's decision to move on was the motive behind her disappearance. On May 17, 2020, 1 week after Suzanne vanished, Barry Morphew released a public video plea. In it, he begged for his wife's safe return, offering a $100,000 reward. Another family friend matched it, doubling the reward to $200,000. The video aired across national television, an emotional moment that drew sympathy but also suspicion. To some, Barry appeared as a desperate husband. To others, the video seemed rehearsed, calculated. Questions lingered. Was this the plea of a grieving man, or the performance of someone hiding the truth? For Mallory and Macy, Suzanne's daughters, The days that followed were agonizing. Away on their camping trip during their mother's disappearance, they returned to a home filled with reporters, investigators, and unanswered questions. They clung to hope and to their father, standing firmly by his side. Suzanne's messages painted a picture of a woman ready to start a new chapter. But within days, she was gone. For investigators, it raised chilling questions. Was her disappearance a coincidence, or the final act in a troubled marriage? As suspicions mounted, all eyes turned to Barry Morphew.
As hours turned into days, Suzanne Morphew's disappearance drew massive attention. Dozens of search and rescue teams, law enforcement officers, and volunteers combed the rugged terrain of Chaffee County. Helicopters hovered overhead, dogs tracked scents, and drones scanned the mountainsides. Yet there was no trace of Suzanne. Investigators found Suzanne's bicycle abandoned along a trail not far from her home. Nearby, her bike helmet was discovered in a different location. But something about the scene felt off. There was little evidence of a crash or struggle, no torn clothing, no drag marks. To trained eyes, it seemed staged. Barry told police he had left early that morning for a landscaping job in Broomfield, 3 hours away. He claimed he last saw Suzanne asleep in bed, but investigators quickly noticed inconsistencies. Cell phone data, vehicle tracking, and eyewitness accounts began to poke holes in Barry's timeline. It wasn't Barry who first reported Suzanne missing. It was a concerned neighbor. When Suzanne's daughters couldn't reach her on Mother's Day, they called the neighbor, who went to check on her. By 5:46 p.m., the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office was alerted. To many, it raised the question, why hadn't Barry called sooner? Detectives discovered Barry's cell phone had been placed in airplane mode for much of that morning. When it came back online, unusual activity appeared. Frequent pings, rapid movements. Security cameras near job sites recorded him throwing away trash at multiple locations. Later, investigators would describe this as an attempt to dispose of evidence. Despite his public pleas, suspicion around Barry grew. Neighbors whispered, internet forums buzzed, and the media pressed for answers. Barry claimed he was being framed, that law enforcement was targeting him unfairly. But behind the scenes, investigators were quietly building a case. Through it all, Suzanne's daughters, Mallory and Macy, defended their father. To them, Barry was a loving parent who could never hurt their mother. Their unwavering support complicated public opinion, leaving many torn between sympathy and suspicion. By September 2020, Suzanne's disappearance had shifted from a missing person case to a criminal investigation. The search for a missing mom had become a hunt for the truth, and all signs pointed closer to home.
Where is it? Where's the bike?
Oh, it's right there.
Where was it?
It was like just right down here in this little embankment right here. So,
We gotta get slowly, can't we?
sorry, Chief. Yes, dude. I got the husband on scene here with me.
Miles are looking for her right now. She's gonna be okay. I'm here with my daughter. She's at the Barry
Oh,
house.
okay. All right. Yeah, you can go down
Did
there.
it crash?
I mean, the bike looked the way it was laid. It kind of looked like it, but there's not really that much damage to the bike. That's the thing.
Lion?
Yeah, it was just like
We
lying.
got no lion? Mountain lion?
I didn't see anything that would.
I didn't see anything, and they're not letting us go over the side
Because we're getting
the
attacked.
dogs. They're bringing
Where'd
dogs
you
down.
find her bike? Right
Just
here?
right down in here.
You know
Yeah.
where my husband and son are? They're
Yeah.
Probably went down to Puma.
Yeah,
down to
so-
the
Here in
house.
my house.
okay.
Lindsay's there.
And Bear, just I know it's tough right now. Do you mind if I just get your driver's license for our report stuff? Search and rescue's on their way. Hey Barry, and then I'll probably need your help to kind of tell me some of the trails that she frequents, so we can backtrack some of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
Oh man. And she's an avid mountain biker, right?
It's just started about 2 months. She's been hitting it.
And just a confirmation, you left this morning at 5.
She was sound asleep.
Okay. And she told you she was gonna go bike
She
riding?
bikes every day, yeah.
Okay.
She said she's gonna bike when she gets up.
So she was asleep in the bed when you left. Did you say bye to her or anything?
No, it's just sound asleep.
Okay.
Always leave it.
So the last time you probably actually saw her was this morning. That was it, right?
Yeah, I've been at Thurnsville. I got a big job up there. I've been there all day working.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, I need to calm down.
No, it's all good, man. We're doing the best. We got
Did
a
they
lot of
check
people
the house?
coming.
Did they?
Yeah, we got,
Before you look through the house?
yeah, they got the house. So what we're doing is we're keeping people out of the house because if the dog comes, they want to get a scent from out of the house.
Yeah.
So they don't want to pollute that scent. So that way we can start trying. And I walked up this. Like I said, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. Nothing looked like.
I wonder if she was hurt, if she could climb up the hill.
But that's the thing. When we came here, still was daylight, right? So if she was right here, somebody wouldn't easily, you know what I mean? Just because it was like literally like right down. It was this. I mean, if we saw it coming in, somebody would have definitely seen it too, you know?
Howdy ho.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Do you want us to stage down at that residence or?
So hold on, let me give this hit and I'll get right with you.
Okay, no worries.
Hey, Barry. Besides, I know the bike was here, but what are some of the paths that, or like the trails, like?
She rides this road. She rides up to. She rides up to the top, and then she goes up to Fuzes.
Okay,
If there's no snow, she'll go up high on Fuzes. She's went down this one a couple times.
down this one here too.
Yeah.
Okay. So double check Fuchs over there too, because I think was it Miles? I think Miles. Yeah, I know. We just want to double check everything. So yeah.
Did anybody look for foot tracks on the road?
I haven't seen anything really, but
Like people's tracks or lion?
I didn't really notice. But I won't lie, I'm not like an expert tracker or something, you know. Yeah. So my partner is actually the one that saw and picked it up, but it was like the top of it was weird because it feels like the top of the bike was like up this way.
So maybe flipped.
Maybe, I don't know, man.
But this problem is.
Go ahead.
What's the thing about 4 o'clock in the morning? Was activity on the phone?
5 o'clock. Oh yeah, so we pinged the phone and it said the last activity was at 4 in the morning.
Up here?
It's off of the Ponce Tower. So there's not any specific coordinate. Hey, can you not touch the bike with your hands, please?
Hey guys!
That's what I was doing. Because I've been wearing gloves. I've been trying not to. So.
Put it in here. Can you set it in your car?
No, but I could try to. My car is with the back is filled with tag gear and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and the bike was found right there. See that little pink thing right in there? And you can see it on our initial body camera too when we found it, right over there, right there by like that tree. So
I'll see that.
I've been seeing a little distraught. He's kind of going back and like, why didn't they check the tree? I'm like, we're trying to do the best we can. And this guy, I guess his name's George Davis. He showed up on his own. I guess Barry. Hey Barry, are you guys? Are you? Where are you guys headed? Okay. Here soon. I'm gonna probably have you come and talk with us more. All right. Thanks, man.
By the fall of 2020, investigators had quietly shifted focus. What began as a frantic search for a missing mother was now a forensic hunt for evidence. Every timeline, every GPS ping, every cell tower record was scrutinized. The husband, who begged for Suzanne's safe return, was now at the center of a growing case. Suzanne's phone data revealed a woman increasingly distant from her husband. Texts to friends painted a picture of a troubled marriage, of a wife considering leaving. She wrote, "He won't let me go." Her last known message was sent on the night of May 9th, the day before she vanished. After that, silence. Barry's cell phone told its own story. Investigators discovered unusual activity, sudden bursts of movement recorded overnight, a phone tossed around the house at odd hours, and multiple stops at dumpsters across Broomfield on Mother's Day. To detectives, it looked like someone trying to cover their tracks. End quote. Then came a startling twist. DNA found on Suzanne's car linked to an unknown male, someone connected to prior criminal cases in Arizona. But after months of testing, investigators determined it was likely a red herring. Still, the pressure mounted on Barry. He was the last known person with Suzanne, and the evidence was piling up. In the months that followed, law enforcement monitored Barry's every move. Undercover officers tailed him, searching for mistakes, watching for slips. The once tight-knit community of Salida whispered the devoted husband was now the prime suspect. On May 5th, 2021, almost exactly 1 year after Suzanne's disappearance, authorities made their move. At dawn, Barry Morphew was arrested near his home and charged with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and attempting to influence a public official. The man who once begged for Suzanne's safe return was now accused of ending her life. The arrest sent shockwaves across Colorado and the nation. Neighbors were stunned, Suzanne's family divided, and her daughters stood firmly by their father's side. With no body recovered, the case was built on circumstantial evidence. Digital trails, suspicious behavior, and the unraveling story of a marriage in turmoil. The courtroom would become the stage for one of the most closely watched cases in Colorado history. Barry's defense team argued the evidence was thin, circumstantial, even misleading. The prosecution insisted the trail of lies and inconsistencies painted a chilling picture of guilt. But one question remained unanswered. Where was Suzanne? Prosecutors pressed forward without a body, without a murder weapon, and without clear cause of death. It was a risky strategy, one that made conviction uncertain. For Suzanne's friends and family, the trial was not just about justice, it was about closure.
Can everybody hear me okay? Up? Okay, I'll yell. All right, I'm Chaffey County Sheriff John Speasy. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to read you a prepared statement and then we'll introduce our district attorney and take questions after. Good afternoon. I wanted to thank you for traveling to Chaffey County on such short notice for today's briefing. Before we begin, I just wanted to speak briefly about Suzanne. I have to admit I did not know Suzanne personally before the beginning of the investigation, but now I feel I've gotten to know Suzanne quite well. I have learned that Suzanne loved her two daughters, Mallory and Macy, deeply, and there was nothing she wouldn't do for them. I've also learned that Suzanne had a passion for life and lived it to its fullest. I've also learned that Suzanne was very easy to like and was cherished by her closest friends. I believe people like Suzanne are a rare find, and those who knew her were indeed very lucky. Today marks a major milestone in this investigation of Suzanne Morphew's disappearance. We are announcing that at 09:15 hours this morning, the Chaffey County Sheriff's Office arrested Suzanne Morphew's husband, Barry Morphew. He was taken into custody near his home in Poncha Springs. He was alone at the time of his arrest, and he was arrested without incident. Today marks the culmination of thousands of hours in this comprehensive investigative effort to locate the mother of two who went missing May 10th of 2020. More than 70 investigators from the Chaffey County Sheriff's Office, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and dozens of other local law enforcement agencies have provided their expertise on this case. We've executed more than 135 search warrants across Colorado. We've interviewed more than 400 individuals in multiple states. Our team has also investigated more than 1,400 tips generated from within and outside of law enforcement. In early April, the extensive work completed by our investigative team was presented to the 11th Judicial District Attorney's Office. In that multiple-hour presentation, we outlined all of the information and evidence we have taken in over the past 12 months. Following that meeting, the District Attorney's Office reviewed our case and information and solidified their decision to move forward on this case. Today is not the day for celebration, nor does it mark the end of this investigation. Rather, it's the next step in this very difficult yet very important journey as we seek justice for Suzanne and her family. I know how deeply This case has impacted our community over the past 12 months. Through multiple conversations I've had with our citizens across the county, one message was clear from everyone, and that's that they wanted answers and they wanted justice for Suzanne. Although I'm not able to offer specific details, I want to assure the community that every action our investigators took in the past year led to today's arrest. This arrest would not be possible without the assistance of our supporting law enforcement agencies, which include the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and of course the 11th Judicial District Attorney, Linda Stanley, and members of her office. Before District Attorney Linda Stanley speaks, I want to extend my deep appreciation to our community for their support they've shown us for over the past year. While this has been a trying time for our citizens, I've seen our community rally around one another and our investigative team. I'd now like to introduce District Attorney Linda Stanley.
My name is Linda Stanley. I'm the District Attorney for the 11th Judicial District, which includes Fremont County, Custer, and Chaffee counties total. I wanted to say that thanks for being here for everybody, and there's a couple of things I'd like to address about this case. First, the investigation is still ongoing. Suzanne, her body has not been found, and we're still looking into that. The investigation is ongoing. Second, Barry Morphew is presumed innocent until proven guilty. That's important to remember. Third, the arrest affidavit is sealed at this time. I cannot and will not discuss it. Fourth, all media inquiries from this date forward should go through my office. However, I'm sure you all are aware and know that we cannot talk about any open or active investigation, and that is per the rules of professional conduct that we will abide by. Lastly, I wanted to say that today is a good day. It's a good day for all of the men and women in law enforcement that have tirelessly worked toward getting here. They worked day in and day out, sacrificing more than any of you will ever know. They even continued working and continued their sacrifices as they were being raked over the coals and second guessed as to their skills and abilities. I'm standing here in front of you on this good day because they never quit. Sheriff Speasy and his deputies at the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, Alex Walker, investigator for the 11th Judicial District, those two individuals in Sheriff Speasy's office in particular are consummate professionals, and quite frankly, some of the best I've ever worked with in my entire professional career. They followed every lead, every tip, and every unanswered question, no matter what direction it led them in. They never compromised the integrity of the investigation. On several occasions over the last few months after I was sworn in on January 12th of this year, I met with these professionals and went through hours and hours of their meticulous investigation. Their investigation was presented to our office just a few weeks ago. For me, today is a good day, but for my office, this is where the work begins. There's more work to be done. However, this is an important and incredibly crucial step. And today is a good day for Suzanne. As far as I'm concerned, today is all about Suzanne. And it's about her family. And it's about all the individuals that knew her and loved her and cared about her. That's what this day is about. And it's a good day. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and take some questions now.
Can you tell us?
Right, turn the light.
Thank you. Can I please, the district attorney, if you don't mind, you're not releasing the affidavit, you don't have a body. How can you prove to the members of the public that you have a strong case?
For those that didn't hear the question, he said, we're not releasing the affidavit and we don't have a body, so how can I convince the public that we have a strong case? That's my job. I'm the one that considers how strong my case is before I bring charges, and I wouldn't bring charges unless I was confident.
Suzanne has been missing for nearly a year now. What made you take this step today as opposed to any time in the past year?
Who's that directed to?
Either one.
Would you repeat the question, please? Kinda?
Yeah. If I could have you stand in front of the microphone just to make sure
Yeah.
that we pick it up. Suzanne has been missing for nearly a year. What made you take this step today as opposed to any time in the past year?
It's been a culmination of our investigation over the past year. Honestly, it kind of oversimplifies. Today is just any other day. It's been our investigation over the past year that got us where we are today, and based on other information we gathered, we acted on it. I mean, today became the day, but it's been a culmination of everything we've gained over the past year. And I know for everybody here, you say, well, that's hard to understand that because we haven't said so much about the investigation. That's what's so important about this investigation that got us here today, is the amount of everything that's gone into this and what's brought us here, and the ability to remain silent and do the very best we can to put the best case forward. All of that led us to where we are today.
Go ahead. This can also be for the sheriff. You made this arrest today, and you've been searching for Suzanne Morphew for a year. Is there any indication today that she is not alive anymore as your search continues?
And repeat the question if you could.
The question is if we'd been searching for her and we hadn't found her, and if there's any indication that she wasn't alive today. Is that correct? Well, we believe that she's not alive. We've filed first-degree murder charges, or we're in the process of filing first-degree murder charges. So our belief is Suzanne is not alive at this time.
Sheriff Speedy, talk about how when you pressed charges today, when in your investigation did you know that she was no longer alive, and when did you change to, it was no longer a missing persons case that you were dealing with, it was now a homicide?
You know, that's actually a really good question. I'm sorry. It's a good question in that it's not, the light bulb moment doesn't happen overnight. It's when you begin an investigation, you start collecting information, you gain more information, and as you go along, you continually assess what you're doing, and as time goes by, you start eliminating certain things and start bringing in other things, and as you progress, you go from one point to another and you make realizations, and so your investigation is always, it never ends till it's over, if that makes sense, and you're constantly learning things, and so you go from what you believe here to what we present now, and so it's a process, and it's been a long process, been a very tedious process.
Was there a date or a time?
Black trench coat? Yeah, jam under our belly voice. I know that District Attorney Stanley said the warrant is overall sealed. So could we let them know what he's been charged with? He said first-degree murder. Anything else?
Jan, you're Jan, right?
Yeah.
That was in the early press release we put out. Did it not have the charge?
I don't think it came out in the original.
Okay.
Chance, could you read all the charges?
I don't have them with me. Do you have them? Where's Alex? Yeah.
The question was asking what the charges were. It was first-degree homicide. It was tampering with evidence, and attempting to influence a public servant.
Go ahead, right here.
Yeah. Sheriff, is Mr. Morphew being held here at the facility now?
The question is if Mr. Morphew is in our detention facility. Barry Morphew is in the Chaffee County Detention Facility.
And then what are the next steps? When will he make a first appearance, etc.? Or do we not know yet?
The question was what is the next step and when is his first appearance? Tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning will be his advisement, where any arguments on his bond will be heard.
7 minutes.
Can you give an update for the sheriff? Can you give an update on the search for Suzanne Morphew? We've been covering that a bit. Has that changed at all? Is there any new locations that you're looking, any new evidence that you're going off?
You know, honestly, it changes every day. If we receive information, we've as I stated before, we've investigated 1,400 tips. We're always reacting to new information. There's always things we're looking at. We never rule out anything, so it's ongoing.
Is there anything new that you can share with us in terms of where you're looking?
There's nothing I can share at this time because it's still an open and ongoing investigation, so we're not able to share any of that information.
We'll go right back here. Sheriff, do you expect to make any other arrests in connection with this case?
do we expect to make any more arrests in this case? No, we don't expect that at this time, no.
Is there an alleged cause of death?
An alleged cause of death.
The question is there an alleged cause of death? So at this time, without the body, we wouldn't be able to say that publicly. We do have information that led us to this point today and how we think a certain scenario had occurred. But as we investigate further, that may change. So at this time, I can't comment.
All right, we're going to take 2 more questions. Let's get to, go ahead.
This is for either the sheriff or the district attorney. Has Barry Morphew have you been able to interview him since he was arrested, and has he been cooperating with the investigation? And have you asked him where the body is?
The question was if the suspect, Mr. Morphew, had answered any of our questions or told us where Suzanne Morphew's body is. And after Mr. Morphew was arrested this morning, he was taken into custody, and when asked questions, he said he wanted a lawyer, so all questioning ended.
Last question. Go ahead. Has Mr. Morphew retained counsel at this point?
Yes, he has retained counsel.
Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and... We haven't heard from him in a year. Can we have a couple more questions? He's done one press conference this whole time.
And I get that.
It's been a year.
Yeah, and we've got a news release that's coming out, and there's going to be more. So thank you so much. News release will be coming out in just a few minutes. We appreciate your patience and your time for traveling here today. Thank you so much.
Did you already put a mugshot out too?
That'll come out with that.
Okay.
In May 2021, Barry Morphew stood accused of killing his wife. The arrest made national headlines, and many expected a swift conviction. But from the beginning, the case was riddled with challenges. The prosecution had no body, no murder weapon, and no eyewitnesses. What they did have was a digital trail, suspicious behavior, and a marriage under strain. Barry's defense team went on the offensive. They argued that the evidence was circumstantial. Cell phone pings, deleted messages, and odd driving patterns could all be explained. They pointed to the DNA on Suzanne's car that did not match Barry, suggesting the involvement of an unknown male. They painted him not as a killer, but as a grieving husband wrongfully accused. Through it all, Barry's daughters, Mallory and Macy, never wavered in their support. They sat behind their father in court, their presence a silent yet powerful defense. For prosecutors, this posed an emotional challenge. The victim's own children believed the accused was innocent. Then, in April 2022, just weeks before the trial was set to begin, everything unraveled. Prosecutors filed to dismiss the case without prejudice. They admitted they were not ready to proceed. Key forensic testing had not been completed, and without Suzanne's body, they could not prove cause of death. The judge agreed, and Barry walked free. To many, it was unthinkable. The prime suspect in one of Colorado's most chilling mysteries was released. The dismissal sent shockwaves through the community. Some saw it as a failure of justice. Others viewed it as proof of Barry's innocence. For Suzanne's family and friends, it meant more waiting, more uncertainty, and more pain. For more than 2 years, Suzanne remained missing. Search teams scoured mountains, rivers, and forests. Cadaver dogs were deployed. Detectives followed countless leads, but every trail went cold. The question hung in the air: where was Suzanne? Then in September 2023, the case took its most heartbreaking turn. During a search unrelated to Suzanne's disappearance, investigators uncovered human remains in the remote wilderness of Saguache County, about 50 miles from where she was last seen. After testing, they were confirmed to be Suzanne Morphew. The discovery brought answers, but not closure. Suzanne's loved ones could finally lay her to rest, but the truth of what happened that Mother's Day morning remained unclear. Barry has never been retried, and to this day, no one has been convicted in Suzanne's death. Did Barry Morphew take his wife's life, or was Suzanne the victim of a stranger in the wilderness? Why were her remains found so far from home? And will prosecutors ever bring the case back to trial? The chilling disappearance of Suzanne Morphew remains one of the most haunting, unsolved stories of our time. In June 2025, a grand jury in Colorado returned a new first-degree murder indictment charging Barry Morphew with the death of his wife, Suzanne. He was arrested again in Arizona on June 20th, 2025, and has since appeared in court in Colorado to face these renewed charges.
My name is Megan Bagwell. I'm the Director of Administration for the Office of the District Attorney here in the 12th Judicial District. Standing behind me is District Attorney Ann Kelly, that is Kelly, who you'll be hearing from shortly. I also have Sheriff from Saguache County, Dan Warwick, Warwick, Chaffee County Sheriff, Andy Rorick, Rohrich, and Colorado Bureau of Investigation, Agent in Charge, Chris Adams, ADAMS. After District Attorney Ann Kelly's statement, she'll be available for a few questions. Any other questions after that can be directed to media@da12.state.co.us. Thank you.
I appreciate the members of the media that are here today. I scheduled this briefing to provide an update on the investigation that has been in the hearts and minds of the people of Chaffee County since Mother's Day of 2020. Suzanne Morphew was reported missing on Mother's Day 5 years ago. Law enforcement has never stopped working to obtain justice for this mother of two, this daughter, this sister, and this beloved member of the Chaffee County community. Through the tireless efforts of the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, the Saguache County Sheriff's Office, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, I can announce today that the 12th Judicial District Grand Jury returned an indictment. The grand jury has indicted Barry Morphew on the single count of murder in the first degree. Law enforcement, the Chaffee County community, and Colorado as a whole has never stopped fighting for justice for Suzanne. Cold case homicides are tremendously difficult. They're difficult for the families of the victims and the communities who wait patiently for answers. While it may seem at times that the world forgets about these victims, I can assure you that my law enforcement partners and Colorado's law enforcement community do not forget. Every unsolved murder is a tragedy, and we must never give up on our efforts to find answers in these cases. My office will be prosecuting the indictment as Suzanne's remains were found in Saguache County, which is a county within my jurisdiction, the 12th Judicial District. I am extremely appreciative of Michael Doherty, who is the elected district attorney in Boulder County. He has consistently committed material resources to small rural DA's offices like mine to assist in the sometimes Herculean efforts to bring justice for victims in rural areas of our state. His commitment to rural Colorado he's continued his commitment with this case. He's provided me with the assistance of a chief deputy in the Boulder County District Attorney's Office to assist me with the investigation and the prosecution. Colorado's community of prosecutors is committed to assisting wherever the need arises. In addition to Mr. Doherty's assistance, District Attorney John Walsh of the Denver District Attorney's Office has committed to providing me with appellate guidance during the case proceedings. So today I have with me Chaffee County Sheriff Andy Rorick. I stand united with Sheriff Rorick and Under Sheriff Alex Walker. I stand united in announcing this indictment. Through this process, I have seen firsthand how deeply Sheriff Rorick and Under Sheriff Alex Walker and the entire Sheriff's Department in Chaffee County cares about this case. I am proud and appreciative of our cross-jurisdictional partnership and their hard and excellent work. I also stand with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who has never wavered in its commitment to this investigation, providing essential intelligence and investigative resources and expertise through the years. I also recognize and appreciate our continued partnership with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation has done incredible work, and their CBI agents and analysts have worked very, very hard to advance the goal of finding answers in this investigation. Here representing the CBI is Agent in Charge Chris Adams with CBI's Pueblo office. I also stand with Saguache County Sheriff Dan Warwick, who is here with me as well. He and his office immediately answered the call to action, when Suzanne's remains were found in the county he represents. Sheriff Warwick and his deputies are an essential part of this team, responding to the recovery of Suzanne's remains with the highest level of dignity and professionalism. I also want to continue to recognize what I have come to expect in my years as a prosecutor, and that is multi-jurisdictional and multi-state cooperation and partnership. I want to recognize the Arizona Department of Public Safety, who immediately responded to our team's request for assistance in locating and arresting Barry Morphew in the Phoenix area. Mr. Morphew will be held by Arizona authorities pending extradition proceedings in that state. And upon conclusion of those proceedings, Mr. Morphew will be transported to Alamosa County to stand trial on the indictment. This indictment has been unsealed upon the arrest of Mr. Morphew. I asked for this briefing to provide you with an update and provide information to the community. Me and my team recognize the importance of being laser focused on the prosecution and to speak with one voice. And so for that reason, all of the agencies that have been involved in getting us to this place, as well as the prosecutors that have been willing to assist me in this investigation and prosecution, they have all been instructed to send any media requests to my office, and so that's what I'd ask of you. In an effort to be transparent, I'd like to thank the the Office of the Judicial District in this district for making the indictment immediately available, and so you can get a copy of that indictment on the State Judicial's website. It is linked on a page labeled Cases of Interest, and it's under Alamosa. Barry Morphew is presumed innocent in this case and that presumption remains with him unless and until he is convicted at trial. And so once again, thank you for allowing me to provide an update to the community on this very important case. And I can take a couple of questions if you have them. Yes, sir. And thank you for the question. The question was, what was Barry doing in the Phoenix area? I appreciate the question, and that information was still being gathered. We have been working very, very hard to make sure that we run down anything we can with respect to this investigation, and our law enforcement officers will certainly be following that. Yes, sir.
In the indictment, you noted a pharmacology expert testified that ban would render the recipient unable to resist any constrictions to the recipient's ability to breathe. Do you believe the dosage of ban was so great it killed her, or that she was so incapacitated she was strangled or something?
And thank you for that question. I am looking forward to having our team present all of those facts in a court of law. Obviously, I would like to be able to provide my comments, but my ethical obligations will not allow me to. However, I am very appreciative of the Judicial Department for making that indictment available, and I look forward to having our team present this case in court. Yes, ma'am.
Why now?
That's a great question. And so we, as prosecutors in Colorado and law enforcement in Colorado, We are very dedicated to making sure that we don't forget the victims of cold case homicides. But we also understand that it is so important to make sure that we have done everything we can to bring a case to court. And we are proud of the work that we've done. Every victim of homicide, murder in Colorado deserves that kind of attention, deserves that kind of work from law enforcement. And I would say that having the opportunity to work on these cases and to bring justice for these victims has been very important to me. Yes? Yeah, let me.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Was Morphew surprised at all when he was taking this? Was he expecting this?
And thank you for that question. The question is whether or not Morphew, what Mr. Morphew's reaction was. And I can tell you that that's going to be part of the case, and we look forward to presenting that in front of a jury. Yes, sir.
So the male DNA was found in Suzanne's car. Are you guys moving forward? Are you guys using that evidence for his trial? Tell us more about that.
And thank you for that question. The indictment has a wealth of information about that particular topic, as well as the probable cause that supports the arrest in this case. And obviously, we are going to do everything we can to make sure that justice is done for Suzanne, and that includes being as thorough as we can about the facts of the case.
Another question. When you arrest Barry in Arizona, so that's still investigating right now with Arizona law enforcement?
So the Arizona Department of Public Safety has been an incredible partner for us. They organized immediately when we asked them to respond when we received the indictment. So I very much want to thank the Arizona Department of Safety. What about you, sir?
What will be the biggest difference between the prosecution of this case and the time versus back in 2021?
And the question is, what would be the difference between the prosecution of this case and other prosecutions? You know, justice for cold case homicide victims remains a priority in the state of Colorado, both for prosecutors and for law enforcement. And that's despite any challenges that we may have had in the history of any particular case. That remains a priority for us. And so we have worked very hard to move forward in the case. This case is a different case, and I would refer you back to the indictment in this case. And we've worked very hard to move forward. Yes, sir.
On an emotional level or on a personal level, and it's okay if you repeat yourself, can you talk about the journey, your journey from the day this was dismissed until today? Just broad strokes, just tell us that story.
Well, thank you for that question. The question is, what has this process looked like, essentially? What has this process been like for the family, for the community, for our law enforcement partners? And I can tell you that it has been a long road. It has been a long road, and the families of the victim have been so patient. The community has been so patient. But I can tell you that our law enforcement officers have never forgot, have never given up, and they have been working so hard to get to the place where we are today. And so it is never enough to say we're just going to forget about it because it's too hard. And so that has been the process for me. And I'll take maybe one more question here in the front.
Can you elaborate further on where Suzanne's remains were found in relation to Moffett? I know it was undisclosed, but can you provide any more detail about where she was found?
So it was in and around the town of Moffett, and that raises an important question that I want to address. And so the remains of Suzanne Morphew were found in Saguache County, and that's obviously a county in my jurisdiction. And so jurisdiction in this county is appropriate. I can tell you that I have reached out to and contacted my friend and colleague, elected District Attorney Jeff Lindsay, who currently covers Chaffee County. He is in full support of our efforts to prosecute this case here and has committed to providing any resources that we need to prosecute this case.
How did you know Morphew was in Arizona?
And the question is I'm sorry, can you say that again?
How did you know Barry was in Arizona?
And I appreciate that question. We obviously have never given up on this investigation. And so working with our law enforcement partners, we were able to make that determination.
Could
So right now we have the indictment in front of us, and we're committed to working hard to get that done. So, and this will be the last question. Thank you so much.
Just one last question. From a community perspective, this community's been through a lot with the district attorney's office, and we've watched you take it over and repair it, stand here with law enforcement, something this community might not have seen in the past. We've watched you build a staff. Now we're at the point where we've got all kinds of television cameras here because you've done what you've done in this particular case. Speak to what kind of satisfaction you have having gotten here, and is the job done with your staff, and can you now move forward?
Well, and thank you. The question relates to the status of our district attorney's office and where we've been in the last 3 years. And thank you for the question. The effort that we undertook to come to the San Luis Valley, that I undertook to come to the San Luis Valley and build the district attorney's office was quite tremendous. But I can tell you that the collaboration of prosecutors across the state to assist me, to assist my staff, to assist law enforcement has been absolutely tremendous. It is a testament to how strong our law enforcement community is and how united the prosecutors in the state of Colorado are. And so assisting me in building the office in the San Luis Valley, that is a testament to the assistance that I've received across the state. So thank you for the question.
Thank you for what you've done.
One last question, and when do you expect Barry Morphew to show up?
Thank you. So he's currently being held by the authorities in Arizona. He will go through a process of extradition, and when that process concludes, he will be then transported back to Colorado. So thank you so much.